Hi, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. Today I'm not going to do the normal daily dose. I might do that in a little while, but I have a couple of subjects here that really are worthy of their own videos, and I don't want to get them all mixed up with the rest of the craziness and idiocy of the day. Welcome to all of you out there. It's good to have you. It's Friday. What is it here? It's Friday, January 28th, 2022. And it's good to have you all here. Welcome to all the new people. I see that we're gaining subscribers every day. That's great to see because it means that our message is getting out there a little bit wider, and maybe some people are just discovering us, and I'm sure that you all are sending it to people that you know that you think might benefit from this or learn from it or get angry about it or whatever. So thank you for that. And also welcome to everybody who's come over to Patreon. That's one way that you can support us on this. If you want to support this channel, we do always put the link down below to the Patreon channel, and you can join for $1 a month or whatever you would like. And I do want to say, and this is not to make anybody think that they have to, but there are people giving a lot more than $1 a month, and I want to say especially thank you to you all. That is very nice. I've never asked for that. You all just have done it, and that is great. We appreciate it. Today I'm just going to talk about one issue here. I'm going to make a second one probably after I'm done with this, covering another issue, because each one of these is kind of a standalone. It needs to be put out there and needs to be discussed on its own. Somebody sent me a link today, and I don't usually have time to listen to a lot of other, whether it's YouTubes or podcasts or anything like that. I really don't have the time. And today I did. I was writing. I was writing on the 5th book, and I was just doing some not editing to where I have to concentrate on it, but just kind of some formatting and things like that. So I was able to listen to this. It's an hour-long podcast. And I'm going to put the link to it over on Patreon. I'm not going to put it down here. And then I was baking biscuits. I like doing that. And I was just kind of puttering around the house, getting ready for the day. And so I was able to listen to this. And it is, for those of you who are familiar with Charlie Kirk and the Charlie Kirk Show, he's a good one. He is a sharp guy. I'm sure a lot of you are. If you're not, look him up. And he carries a lot of good stuff. Today, I'm not sure if it was today. It was just sent to me today anyway, and I don't see a date on here. But somebody sent this to me today, and it was about he was interviewing Glenn Beck, and the title of it was Unpacking the Globalist Threat of the Great Reset. Okay. Charlie Kirk is a sharp guy. Glenn Beck is a sharp guy. Beck and I don't always go down exactly the same road on things, I think he's very sharp. I think that he's, let's just say that we differ on some things. I think that sometimes he's the sky is falling. And then, darn if it didn't turn out that he was right on some things later on. But I listened to this, and it was very interesting, as you can imagine. I'll read the squib just here, and then I want to talk about it. It says, on one of the most comprehensive and important episodes of the Charlie Kirk Show yet, Charlie is joined by Glenn Beck, author of the new definitive manifesto on the Great Reset, called The Great Reset, Joe Biden and the Rise of 21st Century Fascism. Right, okay. I haven't read that book. I think I'm going to get it, though. Glenn goes through in depth just how existential the threat is from a global cabal akin to a group of Bond villains, that's James Bond villains, who are hell-bent on reconstructing the world into a fascistic, meaning fascist, dystopian hellhole. They walk through the shocking history of their agenda. He does that very well. Reveal what plans they have in place for global domination, and finish the conversation by providing a can't-miss roadmap for defeating their sinister sinister plot. See, I don't like words like that. Those hyperbole, I don't like it. I just like to talk about, what is and what isn't. I will say that towards the end, he might cover it in his book. I don't think that they really provided a can't miss roadmap for defeating the sinister goals of these globalists. However, I think that there is probably, and they kind of alluded to it. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with the concept of this reset and how many things, many head shaking things, seem to come together as a part of it. All those why would they do that questions, right? Why the mandates? Why the whats? Why the changes in banking? Why inflation? Why shutting down economies, the greatest economies of the world? Why leaving open borders? And really, it doesn't take a lot to see how they're all working together. I think that the main question is why, and if you don't understand your enemy, if you don't understand the motivation behind anyone, you don't know why they're doing things, it makes it difficult for you to understand. I think that's just it. It's impossible to understand why they would do things that are so different than what a reasonable person would want. Is that a good way to put that? Why would anybody want to destroy the economy? Why would anybody want to leave our borders open? Why would we engage in certain scientific processes that create large problems? Boy, I got to dance around this, don't I? That the solution to which they claim is to further destroy the country and the economy. Why would they do that? And when the motivation of someone is beyond your ability to understand, it makes it difficult to get a grip on it and to have any kind of idea of how to fight back. Yeah, I think there are several schools of thought on this. One is that it's just flat out evil, and I believe in evil. I believe that there's evil in the world, and I believe that this very, very well could be at the root of this. Maybe it's just evil. I'm going to. Well, no, I won't talk about what I'm going to do. Another is money. I mean, if you want to know what's the reason for a lot of people is it's just money. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, right? Many people misquote that as money is the root of all evil. That's not what it says at all. It is the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It's not even the love of money is the root of all evil. It's all kinds of evil. Well, certainly this is it. So is it money that's there? Is it power? Is it control? Well, I think it's all of those. And if we don't recognize that all of these different things come into play, then it's difficult for us to be able to respond to them effectively at all, right? So how do we prepare? How do we respond to this? And I think they do a great job. Like I say, I do encourage you, go over there. I'm going to put it on the Patreon page and listen to it. I think you're going to learn some things that you didn't know before, or you might put some things together that you hadn't put together before. But the solution is the slippery part, isn't it? What do we do? How do we approach this? How do we respond? How do we protect ourselves from these things with these people controlling, everything? Banking, the food. They're wanting to control the food. We know that. Okay. They do talk about how by 2030 they want essentially the world to be meatless. Meaning, you and I, they don't want us to have our steaks. Well, okay, are we going to put up with that? Or are we going to do something about it? Are we going to fight back? one of the responses, not necessarily theirs, well, I suppose to an extent it is the creation of a parallel society. There are problems in that of its own, and I think that would probably take video after video, and maybe I'll get into that on others. But the creation of being able to live outside the constraints of an oppressive society, government, things like that. I cover a lot of this, as those of you who have followed me over from Integrative Preparedness know. I talk a lot about that. I use certain groups, including organized crime, as examples of when they lived under oppression. And that was the seeds of many of those organized criminal organizations, what we consider organized criminal. That their genesis came from the fact that they were being oppressed by tyrannical governments or power structures, and how they were how they developed as a way to provide for themselves, provide for their families, protect themselves from a corrupt system, an oppressive system. And although that was their genesis, they developed into other things that I don't suggest we develop into. But it was important at that time, and it shows how they were able to do it. I've had some people argue with me on the other channel when I have talked about, building the ability to live under oppression, and they will say, I don't want to live under oppression. I want to fight, and I want to, it's time to stand up. Well, I understand that. But until it's time to fight physically, do you just want to knuckle under and live under every next rule and every next restriction that an oppressive regime puts on you? Or do you want to learn how to, slip through the cracks and live well, continue to live well under the oppression while it's here? I'm not saying don't throw off the oppression. What I'm saying is learn how to live well under those constraints until we're able to throw the constraints off. So I do suggest that. It's something to give a lot of thought to. I'm interested in hearing your opinions on this. What do you know about the reset? Have you thought much about it? What are you? And I know that this is something that you might not want to put specifics in the comments about what you do, and that's all well understood. We speak to each other here as intelligent people who are able to get our point across without necessarily being specific. So to the extent that you can, I hope that you will let us know about that. I think that's probably we have a lot of distractions being thrown at us. They're all real. I mean, they're real in themselves. But while you're blocking rights, watch out for that left, right? And I think we're getting so many rights thrown at us. We have to see if there's not something else that we're not keeping an eye on. And I think this is it, the reset. But the reset can go both ways. And, I've said for a long time that this country needs a reset. I know a lot of you all agree with me. And that's the reason that I call it I don't say a reset, but I call it a reversion. This country needs a reversion. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to make a second one here on a second subject. But I did want to leave this on a standalone video so that you all could respond to this one specifically, or pass it around to anybody that you want to. And I'd like to hear what you say. So until then, I'll leave you with our final thought as always, and that is we have to realize, we have to recognize that America needs a reversion, and it needs every one of us to be a part of it. So thank you for being a part of it. Like I said, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you'd like to support us in some way, you can do so by joining on Patreon, and do watch that or listen to that podcast. I think it'll be interesting for you, and leave comments over there too if you'd like. So I'll leave it at that. Wish you all a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.